Fantastic. I'll just do a quick kind of dive into what Audio Avenue is. So basically, we created it so that not only can we celebrate artists that we feature, but also kind of give artists that are reading or watching a little bit of an insight into the industry, whether it's knowledge or insight, or maybe even a word of wisdom or anything like that. To kind of bridge the gap, I suppose, between I feel as though social media has brought us closer together, but also kind of moved us further apart than we've ever been before.
In every aspect of life, I'd say
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely. And I
Lots of
think,
connectivity and no connection. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. So Audio Avenue was created then to not only be a publication, but kind of a movement to kind of become authentic and to bridge the gaps. So yeah, it's about giving artists as well as yourself, but to the grassroots and independent artists as well, a bit of knowledge. So I'm going to kick off with something that I would like to know,
Sure.
and that is China on your hands. Absolutely, I got to start with it. I'd kick myself if I didn't. Uh, Incredible, one of the best songs of the 80s.
Oh,
You've
thank you.
got Bridge of Spies went to number one. I would say yourself and Tapao absolutely smashed the 80s. Um, so looking back, what was the industry like back then? What was, recording tours or, the entire industry in general then? What was that like?
Well, it was completely different. For a start off, it was so much bigger, and you had to get a record company because they financed you. I mean, obviously, as a startup band, you could get bookings and get a fee at the venue you were gigging at. Hopefully, get a following and you get paid, and hopefully, you make some money. Most of the time, you just hoped you just didn't lose money. You're just trying to get attention and traction.
Yeah.
And I did that for years and years and years. And then when you finally got a record deal, what I liked about it was basically a bank. So they agreed you had some potential hits. We got put across the desks of a lot of big producers at the time, and we ended up choosing the fabulous Roy Thomas Baker. Nearly went with Nile Rodgers. That would have been a different record,
Ooh,
wouldn't it?
yeah.
I love Nile Rodgers. Yeah, so it was huge, and the record companies had regional scout offices, so they'd have Birmingham, Wolverhampton, Leeds, and then in Europe we were on Siren in the UK, but Virgin Worldwide. So wherever you went on tour, there would be Virgin Hong Kong, Virgin Tokyo, Virgin LA. So you were looked after. There was branches everywhere. You were looked after. Um, you had stylists. This is when you get to a certain level, obviously, they throw a lot of money at you. And a lot of time and effort, creativity from everybody. You can have some fallings out, obviously. I remember arguing over one of my videos, Only the Lonely. I got these great jeans. The stylist got me these great oversized 501 Levi's jeans. Loved them. Leather jacket. I was into my big hats at the time. And the production was called to a halt because the record company and the management wanted to see me in a short skirt because I have good legs. And I do have good legs, but I'll get them out when I want to get them out. Thank you very
Exactly.
much.
Yes.
So I've just been doing all my squats this morning, Keisha. So the part of the arsenal. Um, yeah, so you can have silly fallings out like that, and they're convinced that one slight hiccup in how you present yourself will jeopardize everything. So there could be those conversations. We fell out over edit points in the singles. Back then you had to have a strict 3-minute edit for radio.
Mhm.
So you do a work of art, and for me, a lot of my songs, particularly back then when I was young, were very personal. I was telling a story, I had a message to get across, and for them to say, do you know what, you just need to lose the whole of the second verse, I was like, stab me through the heart, why don't you? you know and now I'm like, yeah, how much you want me to cut out? I'll
Yeah.
just get on with it. I just did a show in Holland at the weekend, and they wanted a strict 3-minute edit of China, so me and a producer had to go through it and slice up the sax break, and
Oh,
but back there, I know, but hey. got to work, got to get paid.
Yeah.
But back then, yes, we went to war over edits with the record company. So there was all that kind of thing going on. But largely, I just loved, and I miss to this day having that money behind me, so I could literally do what I wanted and get my stuff up in your grill, you know.
Yeah.
So now I'm back looking after myself, cottage industry style, like we were discussing before. There's a lot of connectivity. There's a lot of social media. There's a lot of, you can do it yourself. There's a lot of white noise. It's really easy to get lost in it all, isn't it? You know, so the world and his wife's got a YouTube channel and some kind of content, and as a musician, you're competing with people who are, I don't know, putting up pictures of their puppies. It's all the same. It's all the same, isn't it? So
Yeah, I
it's not
think
specifically music.
we've always said as well that the way it's going, they're asking artists now to be content creators
Mm.
rather than genuine artists. And again, that's obviously why we've created what we've created. It is to bring back their artists. So leading into one of my other questions was, what would you bring from the 80s then into the industry now? What do you think needs to be brought back, or not just the 80s, maybe the 70s or the 90s or even the early noughties?
Perms. I had a lovely perm in the 80s. It was called a shag perm or something. I can't remember. What I bring back from the 80s, probably the individuality of a lot of the artists. Everybody was very much themselves. So if you just think of the difference between people like Boy George, you know, Spandau Ballet, New Order, U2, Madonna, Cyndi Lauper, Prince, you
Mm.
know, there's huge characters, huge bands, and I think more diversity. But I'm prepared to be called an old fart because I don't really know who's in the charts anymore. You know, I don't really keep pace with that. But I just think there was a lot of individual expression, and you were allowed to express it. You didn't have to be the same as someone else. So I hear a lot of stuff on the radio now that I just turn it off because it all just sounds like thump thump thump. You know, that's what my mum
Yeah, I was going to say the same. It's like I can turn on the radio, but I couldn't tell you who that person was because
Mm.
there might be five or six different artists that sound the same, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of songwriting teams out there now. And
Hmm.
I know because I've got a friend who is a very successful writer, and you look at the credits on the song, there's like 10 people on it. Um, so I think when certain songwriting teams have success with something, like for, I don't know, Dua Lipa, so they'll write a big Dua Lipa track, then everyone comes to them, and so everybody gets a sort of a Dua Lipa sounding track, you know, because they think, oh, that's what's going to be the hit. And that probably did go on in the 80s as well, because we had Stockache and Waterman, didn't we, who were very much a formulaic writing team, and you could pop any of their artists into any of their songs, couldn't you? So
Yeah.
I think that commercial writing probably has always gone on, but I just think it was just a, I'm stating the obvious, it was a different time. Of course, it was a different time, but I loved the individual expression and the way people looked then. You know, it was just more organic, I think, more holistic, more an expression of an extension of yourself, as opposed to I need to look like this and sound like this to cut through.
Yeah, definitely. I've had the pleasure of having a sneaky peek of the new album as well, which I'm really grateful for. And the one thing I thought was, yes, you could tell that it's a modern album because of the topics and the production. But what I loved is that it's got that 80s vibe. It's still, you are staying true to who you are. And was there a pressure to change, to follow?
Not really. No, no, because there's no one putting pressure on me anymore. I don't have a
Yeah.
big label anymore. I put my own music out on my own label. I still work with Ronnie. He is still my partner in Tapau and wrote all of Tapau's stuff with me. Was my boyfriend, you know, for a long, long time.
Yeah.
We're not together personally anymore, but we're still together professionally. And it's just the sounds we like and the noises we make. They're kind of, excuse me, sorry, it's flipping cold. It Yeah, I still think a load of, we just love very melodic pop rock, great keyboard sounds, big string sounds. Please don't bore us, get to the chorus, nice
Yeah.
efficient songwriting, really good intros, which is the handshake of the song, here I am, I hope you like me. And I also like very specific um, lead breaks, whether it's guitar or sax or keyboards. I don't like noodle and waffle. I like very specific melody. So the melody of the guitar takes over in a very firm way from the melody of the vocal, and you remember it. You remember the guitar solo as well, you know. So we that's just the way we write. And Ronnie's always trying to push me to try. Okay, yeah, Ronnie was pressuring me to try some what I thought were just daft things because he's quite experimental,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't. And he was quite annoyed with me at times, but there you go.
I was literally was going to say, yours and Ronnie's relationship. Has it always been the same? Has it changed over the years, the way you write, or anything about your professional relationship that has
Um,
changed?
he's got a lot more confident and a lot bossier. I used to get my own way on everything, and now I don't so much. He knows what he wants, and he's very creative, and he's got. We call him Columbo because there's always just one more thing, It's just like, can you just stop? He thinks I'm lazy because I'm a real vibe merchant. So I'm like, that sounds great. That's hitting all the spots. Just leave it, and he'll think of just one more tiny little, just one more thing that just needs to go in the background and stuff. So, and he's got a lot more confident, and will get quite stroppy with me now, whereas before, and especially as he was my partner, I think he just used to give in for an easy life.
Yeah. Clever man. Clever man, definitely. So the tour's coming up as well. You're starting on April the 10th, same day as Be Wonderful is out. Where are you excited to go? And also, do we have any inside scoop of what people can expect from the shows?
Well, I'm excited to go everywhere. Um, are you in Wales? You're Welsh, aren't you?
I am Welsh, yeah. I know you're playing Neath in May.
Yeah. Are you down that way?
I'm not far. I'm about 40 minutes.
Let us know. I'm sure we'll
So
have a couple of
yeah,
tips if you want to come. So yeah,
absolutely.
and I love Wales, because Ronnie lives in Monmouth. I used to live in Monmouth. We've recorded so much in Rockfield
Yeah.
in South Wales. So yeah, and we're going to Liverpool, up to Manchester, Leeds, London. Home Firth is a fantastic gig. The Picture Joe's fantastic. Up to Glasgow, Oranmore. So we're going loads and loads of places, and that's on the. You're quite correct. That kicks off on the 10th, but on the 27th of March, the lead single, which is "Read My Lips," which is the first track on the album, we're putting that out 27th of March as a download single, and Ronnie's going to do the video for it. He's had me recording saying "Read My Lips" about 100 times wherever I am, whatever the circumstances, with makeup, no makeup, in the supermarket, in the car. And then he's got some master plan he's going to do with all those. I have
Amazing.
no idea. I have no idea. And my daughter, Scarlett, both my kids are really good at sound and vision editing, Premiere Pro stuff and stuff. Scarlett's an animator, so she's done me a little teaser lyric video for Read My Lips, which is up currently on all the socials, so you can get a little taste of a chorus, everybody, if you want to go take a listen. It's a very exciting song. So we're going to do, obviously, on the tour, get completely lynched if we didn't do all the classic hits and the big album tracks that people still love. So I'm going to try and get, I take advice on this. I was thinking 4 or 5 new songs, because the difficulty is the fans, the public won't have heard the songs yet. So they're coming in cold. Whereas in the old days, obviously, you put out a single, it gets promoted. Hopefully, you get on top of the pops, and then they're excited for the new song.
Yeah.
But that's really hard to do now. So I don't want to. I don't want to overwhelm them with stuff they're not familiar with yet. But the pre-order sales are really healthy, so hopefully people will be excited to hear the new stuff. But I'm thinking 4 or 5 new ones just to start with.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This has been an absolute great time.
Thank you.
Yeah, my parents had drilled 80s music into me.
Oh,
So I've grown up loving the 80s. So this is definitely one I can tick off
oh, thank you
personally.
so much. Yeah.
Um, Before we finish though, what What would you like the legacy of Tapao to be?
Just good times, good
Yeah,
music, that kind of, like you said, the soundtrack to your youth, hopefully, and I think the songs stand the test of time, if I may say so. And sadly, we lost Roy Thomas Baker last May. He passed on, and but the production, just you hear Heart and Soul on the radio, it could have been produced yesterday. I think really good crafted songs by me and Ron. I'm super proud of us. Great players, great producer, and it stands the test of time. So if I can stay in your memory and make you feel happy, then that's all I can ask for, really.
beautiful way to finish.